If you've ever been interested in learning, what does the Board of Supervisors do? And what is somebody that has a massive supervisorial district, like how does he manage it? If you've ever wondered how the county can encourage a strong local economy, then this is the episode for you. My name is Brandon Evans, and I'm the Director of Employer Training Resource, the county's Chief Workforce Development Officer, but you can just call me the Jobs Guy. And today I have the distinct pleasure of spending some time with the most traveled member of the Board of Supervisors, the newest member of the Board of Supervisors, and quite frankly, probably the nicest member of the Board of Supervisors, 2nd District Supervisor, Chris Parlier. Chris, Supervisor, welcome, and what you got to say?
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. The nicest, boy, I'll take that compliment all day long.
Yeah,
so
well,
thank you so much.
Word on the street is you are just that. You're just a super nice guy. And what's interesting is, as one of the nerds that watches virtually every board meeting, you handle really well some contentious situations and members of the public, right? With grace and a nice smile. And yeah, I'm sure that's not easy.
It's challenging sometimes, but I tell you what, I'm just really happy to be able to serve the people of District 2 in this county. I love this place.
So this is Job Talk. We're going to get in and give you a chance to talk a little bit about, just how the county promotes business locally and a strong economy and anything you want to say, especially related to District 2. You guys have some amazing businesses out there. But let's just start with you. Have you always lived in Kern County? Don't think so. How did you get here? What was your employment journey? Take your time and walk us through how you got from where you were to where you are.
Well, I was in high school. Really wasn't sure what I wanted to do, if I was going to go to college or what. I actually did. There was a very good vocational program in the school I was in, and I did 3 years of welding, and I was eligible at that time. I lived in Illinois outside of Chicago. To take the Illinois exam to become a certified welder. And I thought about, maybe that's my journey. That's my path. But my dad was a fighter pilot in World War II. And I always kind of had an affection to maybe go in the military. And my dad encouraged me to do that. So I went in the Air Force, and they sent me to Sacramento when I was 18 after, training and stuff. And that's where I ended up. And I joined the Air Force to see the world, and 4 years later in Sacramento, I was getting ready to get out. And this is kind of a funny story. It was early March, and I was going to go back. I had about 6 months left in the Air Force and test for Chicago Police Department. And when I arrived, and one of my sisters picked me up at the airport, and there was a blizzard. I left Sacramento, it was 82 degrees, and it was just snowing like mad in Chicago. And I wanted to get Chicago pizza I hadn't had in a long time. And she goes, "Chris, you don't even get it. We're lucky to make it home." And we're leaving the airport. And in the median, next to one of those shorty traffic lights, there was a young CPD cop wearing like a Russian hat, a scarf across his face, snow's hitting him sideways, and the light's just blinking red. It's not even working. And he's just like, "Go." And without even thinking about it, I looked at him, I looked at my sister, and I go, I don't know what I'm doing in California, but I'm staying.
Right.
And that's what I did. So I got out of the Air Force. I got a job with corrections at Tehachapi Prison. And that's where when I came into Bakersfield. Everything I had in my life, everything that I owned, fit in my car when I came into Bakersfield. And believe me, my car was not even close to being full. So...
That's incredible. And it's interesting, just the, we talk so much in workforce development about career pathways and goals and plans. And here you are in the middle of a snowstorm, in the Mideast. And that was your decision point. It's
it was.
Yeah, we're going to go back to California.
Yeah. And I tell you what, California has just been wonderful to me. So when I was here, I got here in September. And in October, I met my wife, and we've been together ever since. Yeah. And from there, so I was an officer and a sergeant with corrections.
Great.
And it was funny. I was working a midnight shift, and I was about 15 minutes early to what's called IST, in-service training class. And they had these bulletin boards from different state agencies, out front for hiring notices and stuff. I'm flipping through these hiring notices and just killing time, really.
Yeah.
And I see one for ABC, Alcoholic Beverage Control. And I'm like, oh, an announcement for it. And the sergeant's office was around the corner from where I was looking. I kind of leaned my head over and I'm like, hey, Sergeant, what do you know about this ABC thing? He goes, all I know is they arrest minors and go to strip clubs.
That's an introduction.
And I was like, well, it's better to work a midnight shift at the prison.
Right.
So that was a Wednesday, and I got home and made the call on the flyer. And they said, hey, we're interviewing on Friday. Come on down to Inglewood. And I did good in my interview. And they immediately put me in the pipeline to go to the police academy and everything, after backgrounds and stuff. And I was hired with them and did, 8-10 years with them. I had a lot of fun. Worked in various offices. Was assigned to a narcotics team. I ended up doing several years just undercover. But it was really enjoyable. And from there,
Did you have to ever grow your hair?
I did, yeah. I had the mullet going, the goatee, yeah. So my wife still gets mad at me because I ended up getting an earring in his ear too. And, but it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed the work there. But it kind of got bit by the narc bug, the work narcotics, and from there I went to California Department of Justice as a special agent, and that's where I retired from. And I ended up working a lot of meth labs when I was with them. And again, it was a great career. And so I'm retired, and kind of it was a fluke. My wife and I, this would have been 2000, so 2008, there was a housing crisis in 2008. Yeah. And there was a development across from us that was a large area, and it went literally several blocks of potential development. And my wife and I were walking in 2010 because the development had stopped. And I noticed that a block wall was going in. It was 3 different types of block in the same block wall. It was just, I'm like, well, that looks stupid. Why would you do 3 different types of block? Right. It'd go for a while, one block, and then another style, and then another style. And what happened was that property was sold off to 3 different developers. They came in with 3 different subdivisions, and they each put their own block wall attached to the other block wall. And I go, doesn't anybody pay attention? They wouldn't do that stuff in Seven Oaks or something. Right. So my wife goes, hey, I just read about a new council member that was voted in office. You should, hook up with him and talk to him about it. So sure enough, I did. And he goes, yeah, that sounds stupid. I don't know why
he agreed with you.
I don't know why they did that. Anybody goes, hey, I'm new. I'm putting my committees together. Would you join Keep Bakersfield Beautiful? I'm like, oh, what do you do with that? He goes, oh, you plant flowers, you paint graffiti, and you probably have a lot of fun on it. And I was thinking, oh, do I really want to do that? And then I was like, hey, you're complaining. Put your money where your mouth is. All right. And I did. And I did 4 years on it, and it was a lot of fun. Great community members on it. And then in 2014, he was running for another position, and he goes, Chris, I think you'd be great for the city council. Would you think about running? And I was like, absolutely not. I have no interest in politics at all. And but I go, I will talk to my wife about it. Yeah. So my daughter was running for ASB Associate Body President at Ridgeview High School. And I talked to my wife, and I go, what do you think? She goes, I already have one election going. With your daughter running for ASB, I want another one, So I was a hard no until the last day, really. And then that person came over to my house, talked to me and my wife, and said, you have a good story. People, I think, would get behind you if you ran for office. So I ended up running. I ran against a kind of machine Dem and a machine Republican, and ended up winning. And did 8 years on the Bakersfield City Council, and it was a great experience. Yeah. There was an article in the Bakersfield Californian quote that I used, but I said after 8 years of politics, I still got out with my hide and still fairly well liked. And I guess that's something in today's politics.
It is.
And, I guess the proof's in the pudding. I got 4 more years left of this, so
Right,
we'll
yeah.
see what happens. So
Yeah, and it's interesting. There's so much that you've said there, like including, the ideas of all politics are local or whatever. Like they really do kind of show themselves, on a city block, in a town.
Right.
And when you're managing policy and local regulation, your integrity, your character, all that really matters to the people of
Absolutely.
Bakersfield, Kern County as a whole. Yeah, and then you, other circumstances, played out, and you ran for the second supervisorial district.
Well, I was dealing with a health issue, and that's really the reason I stepped off the council. I could have ran for another term, but I decided not to. So in 2022, I left. Excuse me, and this came out of the blue for the Board of Supervisors, and you literally had a week to make a decision. It happened on a Friday, and by the following Friday, you had to have your paperwork in. And I started getting some calls from people like, "Hey, Chris, do you think you'd be able to do it? And would you be interested?" And my wife and I were out on a walk again, and
These walks.
and I go, "What do you think?" And I thought she was going to be a hard no. She was retiring too. We just bought extra timeshare points. We thought about going different places. And she goes, "I think it'd be good for you." And she goes, "And get you out of the house too." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
One too many jokes around the house,
Yeah.
maybe.
So sure enough, threw my hat in the ring. I was one of 6, and came out on top. And it's been a whirlwind of about 18 months now, and it's been great. District 2 is just a wonderful place. Kern County's a wonderful place,
Right.
and I'm so happy to be in a position to be able to help them.
Yeah, and District 2 is huge.
It is.
Can you give the listeners just a sense of just how big it is?
Well, the county's 8,000 square miles. District 2 is about 4 of that. In my analogy, it's bigger than the states of Rhode Island and Delaware combined. So it's a big place.
It is.
Yeah, you start
It
on
is.
one end, and another thing, it touches 5 counties. On the west end, it's San Luis Obispo, Ventura, Santa Barbara, South Los Angeles. In the east is San Bernardino.
Yeah, it's funny because so my son is in Del Rio, Texas. He's a new Border Patrol agent,
Nice.
and he and his sister are like best friends. And so I had the privilege of taking her to Del Rio, Texas, just this past week. And when you come in, south of Kern, right? We come right into District 2. And so when you talk about touching on, I was like, it's just incredible just how far, and then to the west, you reach Taft.
Yeah, actually further. So
Please.
yeah, Maricopa,
Yeah.
So it goes just, really Fellows too. So it's a huge area.
Yeah, and
And it has, what I like to say is District 2 has all the cool stuff in it.
Yeah.
From oil, ag, wind and solar on the other side, the east end, new casino.
Right.
So it just has a lot of good stuff going in.
Yeah, Mojave Air and Spaceport, Strata Launch, all the stuff
Launch.
they're doing out there.
Did a tour of that facility. Have you done a tour?
Yeah, we do another thing that we call Higher Road, and me and the guy behind the camera went out there with Dr. David G. Smith.
Yeah, Jester.
And yes, that's right. And we and a couple F-38s took off while we were out there, and we got to see a lot of cool stuff and record it. And because what we're looking for, and we can weigh in on this, is helping people, especially people who just have lived in Bakersfield, to understand the incredible employment opportunities if they're willing to drive just a little ways east.
Yeah. We have the first steel mill being built out there right now.
Yeah.
Pacific Steel, Mojave Micro Mill. It's the first one in 50 years in California. It's going to take old steel, melt it down, turn it into seismic grade rebar to help build California and our freeways and bridges and everything else. 400 new jobs are going to be there right now, about 600 construction jobs, over $1 billion project. Down the street from there is HydroStore, another big project that hopefully is going to be coming online soon. A lot more jobs with HydroStore also. I was just at the ribbon cutting of Rev Renewables the first 8-hour battery storage facility to go in California. And we just did a post online too.
Yeah,
It's like,
I saw it.
did you see it about
Yeah, I
8-hour
did. I
energy?
did. Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but again, there is so much, like you said, all the cool stuff is in District 2. No offense to the other
No.
areas.
They got cool stuff too. I know.
Exactly. Well, it'll just be our little secret. But truly there's all these things, and they're jobs of the future. Like when you talk about Pacific Steel, I mean, what they're doing, again, you spoke to the history of it just a second ago, but people, successful businesses are solving problems, right? And that steel was leaving the state, it was going out, and then local folks in the construction area are having to buy it back after somebody else does all of that.
Well, when they were building that facility, they had to get the rebar and everything from out of state,
Right.
because it wasn't produced here.
Yeah.
And now it will be. So.
Yeah, it's just incredible, and the solar farms and all of that. We get the privilege of helping people to understand. Not only are we, still obviously what has happened in Sacramento has really hurt our oil and gas, but we remain a prominent leader in that industry, as well as renewable energy like the solar farms that you're
Right.
referring to. Yeah, Kern County just has incredible things. So already in your seat, what can a member of the board do to help with some of these projects, to help ensure that we're encouraging new business expansion, whatever? Can just for the listener, can you help them to understand what assistance you can be? And
Well, I guess, however I think of it now, I guess I'm a politician,
Yeah.
And whenever I hear somebody running and I'm gonna produce jobs, I'm gonna do this,
Right.
I'm like, I don't know how you do that unless you own a business. But what you can do is help set the stage for businesses that grow and thrive in your area.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Kern County does and tries to do. And I think that's why we get so many businesses coming in our community. And the first thing I hear is, we couldn't do this anywhere else in California.
Yeah.
But Kern County is, allows us, or has the innovation. In fact, my challenge coins, and I should have brought you one today. I haven't given you one yet, have I?
No.
Okay, I
no.
owe you one. I owe you one.
I'll forgive you.
Okay.
That's all right.
But on the back of it, I have energy and innovation. And that's what I really believe that Kern County is.
Well, yeah, and again, District 2 speaks to that more than, again, if we were out at Mojave Air and Spaceport, permission granted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what I love your approach on that, because the politician who's like, I did this, I did this for business, when really often the best role for government is just to get out of business's way,
Right.
make permitting seamless or as easy as possible.
Right.
Pick up the phone and answer those questions, get them directly connected to the people who can walk them through the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all of that, right? Yeah, that is, and yet, again, I think you would, sincerely echo this. Kern, we do a pretty good job of that.
We do. And not only do we do a good job of that, I think we have some of the best people, as far as the workers, the workforce,
Right.
to be able to do that.
Yeah, yeah. The grit, the even regardless of the size of Kern or the size of Bakersfield, the small town feel, the history, and as disgusting as it is what has happened with fossil fuels here locally, those folks moving into other industries, those other industries are getting good people.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it helps.
And hopefully that oil industry, now that we can do the permitting
Right,
again,
right.
2,000
Yep,
permits
yep.
a year,
That's right.
that's going to spin up again.
Yeah. It may take a little while,
Yeah.
but and when it comes to workforce development, we want to do all we can to help the workers and the companies make those matches as soon as they're ready to. Once they start really drilling again and need to hire up, we want to be there to help,
Absolutely.
because that's it. Like under your leadership, the bureaucrats, running the agencies, we have to step up. We have to work at the pace of business to be able to
Yeah.
help business be successful. And again, we don't do it, they do it. But if and when we can help make it easier, that's where the success is.
I need to give a shout out to a couple of big employers. On the east end, we have the mine, the
Yes.
borax mine.
That's right.
They are a wonderful facility, support the county, usually host the State of the County dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a name change. It's 20 Mule, I mess it up, 20 Mule Team.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the new logo for the company. And on the south end, the ranch, Tahone Ranch,
right,
and
that's right.
all the distribution centers and all the innovation
yeah.
that's happening at the ranch. It's something to see.
Yeah, it is. And, you travel, down to the 5 and it's like, oh, there's something else.
Yeah.
There's something else. Rector Seal or whatever, right?
Yeah.
There's just all of these businesses. And one of the things that, just kudos to your team and your social media is, where you go, people will follow, eyes will follow. And it gives exposure to some of those businesses. One of the things that is true is not everybody's a Starbucks, right? Not everybody
Right.
spends a ton of money in branding themselves or marketing themselves. And most people apply where they know. And unless we're finding ways to make some of these employers that
Mm-hmm.
are a little off the beaten path or just don't do a lot of marketing,
Yeah.
they do what they do, but marketing isn't one of those things. Helping bring exposure to them is huge.
You're right. In those little communities, there's so much atmosphere and flavor. Boron has its own feel to
Yeah,
it, little
yeah,
Boron,
yes.
but it's got cool stuff in it. And I love the restaurants out there
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
Maricopa, we're helping Maricopa with the project coming up. We have some CDBG funds, Community Development Block Grant. There's so many great communities. I mentioned Maricopa, Taft, Boron, Fraser Park, Pine Mountain Club, in Tehachapi, Caliente, California City, Roseman, Mojave, of course Bakersfield too, Edison.
You are a brave
Greenfield.
man, because once you started the list, the reason I chuckle is because I'm thinking, okay, if he misses out on one, there's somebody in some small part of Kern that's going to be so bad.
Jawbone Canyon.
Okay.
No, there's so many great areas of District 2. And, one thing when I got in office, too, I think some people were a little thirsty for representation.
Yeah.
And what I like is when I show up, it's not like, the supervisor is here. It's just, hey, Chris is here again.
Yes,
And that's what I
yes,
really like.
Yeah. And again, you're everywhere. And it's one thing to send a staff member. It's one thing to,
Keen and Heart Flat.
okay, there you go. I was giving you some time to think of some more, but the fact that you go out there, I know means so much to these smaller areas.
Yeah.
It really does. I've had some form of responsibility over large swaths of our county as well, and they feel forgotten, they feel unheard, and all of that. And one thing that's going to be interesting is.
Golden Hills, Bear Valley, Stallion
Springs. Yeah. It's the forgotten parts, you love them too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's great.
It's the Board of Supervisors is going to have some changes to how people can involve themselves in meetings.
Yeah.
With some state changes that we're having to implement locally, where people are going to be able to interact with you during board meetings online. Do you want to speak to that? I feel like District 2 folks will benefit from that.
Yeah, I think so. And look, more the merrier.
Right.
It's what it's for. We're government, and we want to hear from people. Engage. So there's probably going to be a little bit of a process. It's going to be new to us too, but we'll figure it out. We'll get through it.
Yeah, it is a thing where if you live in Bakersfield, if you live where these meetings are, and it's a 15-minute drive versus an hour and a half drive, coming from Cal City or something, it makes a big difference. And so, if you want to get feedback and hear voices, it's certainly going to provide that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things, back to your own personal career path, that I think is really good for people to think about is, when you add it up, you've had what people think of as career jobs. You've had about 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about the mindset that, because some people get that, I'm a military guy and that's what I'm going to do. 20 years, I'm retiring and that's it. But you didn't do that. What what's in your mind that caused you to keep flipping through job postings and whatever?
Well, I knew I was going to probably stay in the law enforcement field. And I love the Air Force, and I really thought about potentially re-enlisting and staying in. But I would say that since I didn't really travel during my time in the Air Force, I was one station for 4 years, except for some TDY, temporary assignments, some other places. But I didn't go overseas. In fact, the first time I'm going to go overseas is in a few weeks. But up until this coming point, I've never been to really a different country except, Mexico. So I think that was one of the reasons. And financially, I felt I could do better too, outside the service. But one thing with my life, and I really got this, I think, from my parents, specifically my dad too, is look for opportunities. And especially when you're comfortable, you get comfortable in life, or maybe in a comfortable position, you may want to do something else, but you're comfortable, your salary and everything, and there's a lot to be said for that. But I look for kind of open doors in my life, even with the position that I'm in now. And I find that sometimes, even though you may need change in your life, that if you're comfortable, a lot of people aren't willing to necessarily step through that door.
Right.
And if I see an open door and I feel it's a fit, I'm willing to go through it. So
yeah, that's excellent. That's excellent. And so, as we bring this conversation to a close, is there anything you'd like to say to District 2 residents?
Well, look, I think District 2 is the best, obviously, and every supervisor is going to say that about their district, which is great. And I love my colleagues, and I think they do a wonderful job too. But
yes,
District 2, I tell you, it's really been a joy to represent them. I call myself a rubber meets the road, kind of get her done type of a guy on different things. And same thing, if I look for opportunities that I think might be a fit for the district, then let's try and put it into play. Some of that has been on the public safety side with flock cameras out on the east and drones for the sheriff's department and the fire department that help in their capabilities, along with some other tools. Partnering with people in the private industry that recognize those needs too, and talking to them about, hey, could you help support those things also, which I know some industries have also done to help us and our public safety departments. But like I said, it's just been a real pleasure. It's not official yet, but I'm up by, I don't know, 76+%.
Right.
So
yes.
I think it's probably mathematically a done deal that I've been reelected to a 4-year term. This would be my last term. I'm really the last in but the first out with term limits.
Right.
And so it's going to be a great 4 years, and I look forward to representing District 2. And like I said, all the cool stuff is in D2.
So if you're interested in some of the cool stuff in D2, or better understanding how the Board of Supervisors as a whole does the great work that they do to help lead this county, then pay attention to Supervisor Parlier's social media. Where can they find you?
Facebook, and we have the county site too, but we're really active on Facebook.
That's awesome. And so find him and his team on social media. He is literally everywhere, largest district by far, and just covers it weekly from
First month in office, 1,300 miles on my truck.
That's insane. So he's working for the people, hit the ground running from the moment he got into office, and it's been a pleasure to spend time with you today and get to know you better, and hopefully help the constituents of District 2 better know you as well. Just remember, everybody, when you're talking jobs, talk job talk.